So you just got done watching the fights. The kids are asleep. The wife's in the other room doing, well, what wives do.
Am I the only one that does this goddamn thing around here? How hard is it to pick up after a sound?
So decision time. You could either go in the other room and deal with...
After all I've done today, you expect me to wanna...
Or keep it locked right here, because it's time for the Billy C post-fight wrap-up on the BillyCBoxing.com network. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Billy C.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Kovalev-Ward post-fight show. In case you missed it, the fight just ended between Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward in Las Vegas. It was a unanimous decision victory for Andre Ward. The three judges at ringside scored it 114-113. I personally scored it 114-113 as well. However, I had Sergey Kovalev winning the fight. I thought it was an extremely entertaining fight. But I said all week long that if this fight went to the scorecards, they would somehow give it to Andre Ward. No disrespect to Andre Ward. He had a great performance, but I thought Sergey Kovalev won that fight. I thought he won it by the skin of his teeth, to tell you the truth, but I still think he won it. He went in there with all the belts. What happened to decisively beating a champion to win his belts? Joining me right now, he just got finished watching the fight as well. My man, Sal Rocky Senecola. Sal, what's your thoughts on the fight?
Billy, I'll tell you, I can't believe it. You know, we went out to this pub and we saw the fight live. And let me tell you something. I had it completely different. I had Kovalev winning 119-111. Wow. And I saw a different fight. I saw him winning unanimous decision. And I just can't believe it. I saw in the first round, when Andre Ward's head got caught under his armpit, under his shoulder, I just saw when he backed away, it looked like, wow, he felt the strength. And I was surprised it went the distance. I thought the fight was not going to make it 6 rounds because the first 2 rounds, 3 rounds, Andre Ward felt the power of Kovalev. On another note, I can't believe Kovalev, with his experience in fighting for as long as he has, he couldn't cut the ring off on him. He didn't choose to cut the ring off on him. So it was a much different fight than what I saw, than what I anticipated. I did have Kovalev winning.
We talked about the ability of Kovalev cutting off the ring. I said all last week and prior that I thought that the fight would hinge on Kovalev's ability to do that. He did do that in the beginning of the fight, Sal. But then all of a sudden, in the second half of the fight, he started chasing Ward around. And credit to Andre Ward, he kept his composure, and he did what he does. He has great hand speed, Andre Ward. He counterpunches well. And he clinches and holds, and he successfully did that. Kovalev stopped throwing punches. He was very effective with his jab, but he seemed to stop throwing it. As a matter of fact, I thought that Kovalev got a little tired by the 6th round. It looked like Kovalev was breathing hard. I just think that it did. I think that Andre Ward did frustrate Kovalev a bit. And the end result was what we saw. I did think the fight was closer than you saw it, but I do definitely think that Kovalev won the fight. But nonetheless, they gave the fight to Andre Ward. It is disheartening because I honestly don't believe that Andre Ward won the fight. I mean, it was a close fight at best. Maybe you could squeak out a draw. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I
saw a different fight, Bill. I'm sorry. I saw the first 6 rounds. Like I said, I saw Kovalev mounting up some points. He had a 10-8 round with the drop in the second round, and I just saw a different fight. Now, granted, Kovalev was getting me frustrated because I saw that he looked like he toned it down a little bit. He lost his jab because in the early half of the fight, I was surprised because I didn't see the speed of Andre Ward. I saw Kovalev getting off the jab first.
You know what?
I saw Kovalev doing it.
I tell you, it's funny you say that because I would write notes during the fight, and I said, let's see, where did I write it? by the fifth round, I said the fight was getting close, and it seemed that Kovalev had hand speed. He looked very fast, and by the second and third round, all the way by the sixth round, it looked like Kovalev's hand speed was a lot quicker than I recall it. But hey, listen, give Ward credit. He did perform well. So we're going to open up the phone lines and get everybody else's thoughts on it. Give us a call. We're only going to take one caller at a time. So if you call in and you don't get through, you can call back. We are going to try to keep the calls short. 845-228-8710, 845-228-8710. Give us a call. What's your thoughts on the fight? On the undercard, Curtis Stevens won a unanimous decision over James De La Rosa, 98-90, and two of the judges had it 96-92. I thought that fight was even. Personally, at 94-94, Curtis Stevens ran out of gas in that fight. I gave more credit to James De La Rosa in that one, Sal. I thought James De La Rosa seemed to be a guy that, I don't know, was tougher. He was moving up in weight and everything else. But anyway, Dax is on the line right now. Dax, what did you think of the fight?
It was Andre Ward looked good for 4 or 5 rounds. Kovalev, in my opinion, he dominated the first 4 rounds. Ward won the 5th. Kovalev the 6th. Ward did very well the 7th through the 9th, and then Kovalev, I think, won the 10th, and the Ward won the 11th, and then Kovalev won the 12th. Exactly how anybody, and I've seen a lot of people, and they were the same people who were before the fight just calling Kovalev a bum and discrediting his win against Hopkins and so on. And they're the only ones that actually sat there and said that Andre Ward dominated. There was one person, even after the knockdown, actually had in the 9th round Andre Ward up every single round. Now, it's not just my opinion. I had Kovalev winning 116, 111, but Dougie Fisher from Ring Magazine said it's the worst robbery he has seen in a decade. He had it 115, 112 at worst. Rosie Perez had him winning. Kovalev winning. Dan Rayfield from ESPN had Kovalev 115, 112. There's even a lot of Ward fans who right now are just disgusted. There's a whole list of people who, I might even get that list and read them off on Monday, who says they're done with boxing. There's a lot of old-timers that said this is the reason why they stopped watching boxing for over a decade after the Leonard Hagler fight.
Listen to me. The fight, there were some close rounds in this fight that could have been scored either way. The only thing that we always have to keep in mind, it's easy for us to say, and don't get me wrong, I scored the fight for Kovalev too. I told you I scored the fight 114, 113 for Kovalev, but I'm not ringside. You know as well as anyone else, Dax, that when you're sitting ringside and you can see and feel the punches, watching it on TV and listening to those three stooges with their opinions, you can easily get swayed. So I don't know. I think the fight was close. I do compare it. That's a good analogy and a comparison with the Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler fight. Very similar in terms of it was a close fight. It was an entertaining fight. Can't discredit either one of the fighters. However, I just don't think that Andre Ward did enough to justify getting the victory. To call it a robbery, again, it's similar to the argument with Hagler and Leonard. So it was an entertaining fight, but I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of discussion on it, and like you're saying already, Dax, there's discussion now.
That Kovalev won, he won them in a more dominating fashion than what took place.
Well, he didn't win, but he didn't win enough of them. He didn't win enough of them, apparently.
Apparently, something, all week long, and I'll say this, all week long, Andre Ward, Rock Nation, and even the last week before, they already knew something. There was just a little bit too much cockiness, a little bit too much arrogance. Michael Yarmack, with his continuous, constant, every time he talked, it's like a 20-minute infomercial about everything. They knew, there was just, I'm sorry, this was disgusting.
Well, Kovalev,
and it bothers me. It's reasons like this why I I'm against the sport. Not only this fight, there was a lot of other fights on this card that sickens me. This is the reason why Al Heyman is good for boxing, and I really think that Rock Nation sucks. I can't wait till they fold. They can't get any of their other fighters top fights. They're banking everything on Andre Ward, and Andre Ward was scared to death. He was shitting his pants when he went down. Andre Ward is going to hold that fucking title up, and that's the end of that. I'm tired of the sport. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I tell you, you can.
I'll tell you, Dax, I share your pain, man.
Well, Dax is gone, and I can understand his frustration. Phone line is open, 845-228-8710. What's your thoughts? We're going to take one call. Just listen. I get it, all right? But, just round by round, I gave the first round to Kovalev. I gave the second round to Kovalev. Third round, Kovalev. Fourth round, Kovalev. Fifth round, I gave to Kovalev. But then 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, I gave to Ward. I gave the 10th to Kovalev. I gave the 11th and 12th to Ward. And I mean, I understand where Dax is coming from 100%.
No, I understand. Yeah, I do.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, we got someone else on the line right now. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, boys? It is Brett from Canada.
Brett, man, what's going on, my man?
Brett,
how you doing?
Canada, how are you?
Not too bad, guys. How are you doing?
We're doing good. What's your thoughts on the fight?
I think it was a BS decision myself. I clearly had Kovalev winning. If someone scored at 116, 112, or 115, 113, I think that were the appropriate scores. Obviously, the judges don't give credit for knockdowns, so I just think it was a bad decision, and they obviously favored Ward and wanted him to win. I hope there's going to be a rematch.
Yeah, basically what Dax was saying is it sucks that they kind of predetermine a fight, and that's seemingly what has happened. Although I keep saying it was a close fight. I mean, it wasn't like Kovalev beat the crap out of Andre Ward from ring post to ring post, and then Ward got the decision. Sergey Kovalev could have easily have just taken matters into his own hands and stop Andre Ward. He hurt him. He knew he could hurt him, and he knew that Ward couldn't hurt him. But he stopped throwing punches, and I think that ultimately cost him the fight. I think at the end of the day, that cost him the fight.
Well, to a point, I will have to agree. I think in the middle rounds, like rounds 7 through 9, Andre Ward's body punches were paying dividends because Kovalev was clearly slowing down, and his punches didn't have the zip on them like they did earlier. But I'll tell you, in round 10, both guys were trading. Kovalev kept coming forward. He got the better of those exchanges. And in 11 and 12, he got the better of those exchanges too. I don't think Ward really considered how tough Kovalev is, how focused he is, and how he doesn't get rattled. And Kovalev kept coming after him. He clearly pressed the fight. He won the last 3 rounds, and I think that was enough to seal up the decision. But obviously the judges didn't see it that way.
Yeah, no doubt about that, my man. Hey, listen, Brett, I appreciate you calling in. We're getting a ton of calls. You gotta try to call in during the regular show, man. You should try.
Well, if I wasn't working during your show being live, I would love to do it. If I ever get a day off during the week on holidays, you better believe I will call in.
All right.
Have a great night, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Brett, the best to your family,
Night,
to your family, my man. Brett's a great guy. There's no question about that, and I hope he can give us a call one of these times, Sal. But I tell you, everybody seems to be thinking Kovalev got robbed. The close fights are hard to say robbery. I mean, if the scores were the way you scored it for Andre Ward, I could definitely call it a robbery. But I don't know what to say. I think Ward did what we thought he was going to do. I just think that Kovalev had it in his hands, and he didn't do it.
Well, I thought Kovalev blew his opportunity. I thought he won the fight. I thought it was a dominant fight. You could see that Andre Ward was very intimidated. You could see he showed him a lot of respect with his power in those early rounds, and you could see even Andre Ward took some powerful jabs that put him back on his heels a little bit. I think, Kovalev let him off the hook.
Well, let's we got some other callers. Let's see what else we got going on. We got another caller on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How's it going, Billy? It's Chris from Tampa.
Hey, Chris from Tampa. What's up, my man? What'd you think of the fight?
Hey, Chris.
I'm a little pissed. I was at a bar watching it over here in Tampa, and when the decision came out, it was like end of news. The entire bar was like, "Oh, what the hell, man? What?" It was a robbery.
So
Close fight. I agree. I was listening to this earlier. I agree. But I had Kovalev up by 2 rounds minimum. There were some really close fights in the middle, but Andre, he's a great fighter. Respecting him, but he didn't deserve this. And all I want to say is that I hope there's an immediate rematch, and it's in Russia. That's what he has to do.
Well,
if we forget that Kovalev came, he's the road warrior. He came to America in his place. I listened to Dak's call. He was right. How it's kind of like they predetermined the fight. And yes, while it was close, Kovalev did more to win, man. That knockdown in the second round was crazy. Yes, did Andre adapt? Yes, he did. But Kovalev was still there, man. He was still there, and it was a close fight. If Kovalev won, everybody in the damn bar was like, yeah, he did win that fight. And there were a lot of Ward people there. Every time Ward landed a shot, it was very biased. It was like, yeah, Ward, yeah, got him. And they would kind of ignore the Kovalev shots. And that's fine. But when the decision came, it was pretty much unanimous that they agreed that he didn't win. So Ward's got to do Kovalev a favor and go to Russia. And then let's see how the cards go there if it goes to a decision again. I have a feeling it doesn't go on Ward's side.
Well, I tell you, it was the first time Andre Ward ever fought in Vegas. True. They both, and Kovalev has proven that he could fight anywhere. But I agree. I thought Kovalev won the fight. I don't like the fact that a fighter can narrowly win a fight as close as that score was, and win the title from a guy who was dominating the division, just like Dax referred to it earlier. Reminiscent of Sugar Ray Leonard over Marvin Hagler. That's always been a negative thing. But at the end of the day, Kovalev should have finished him off. That's the only way to end. Any fighter that fights can always avoid a bullshit decision like this by knocking out their opponent. The safety first attitude has to be tossed out the window. Sergey Kovalev stopped their own punches. I mean, listen, we can't say it any other way. It wasn't Andre Ward wasn't doing anything spectacular except holding and grabbing. And
the referee Bird really let those clinches continue. I was getting a little annoyed, like midway the fight. I'm like, damn, break that shit up.
Well, he kind of was letting them fight out of the breaks. But I think that they were both holding. But anyway, final thoughts on that, Chris? Because we're getting a bunch of callers. I want to try and get as many in as we can.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm disappointed, but I got a fight poster, so I'm going to hang it up on my wall. So that's a win for me.
So
I hope there's an immediate rematch, or at least there maybe one tune-up. But they got to fight again. They have to, because there's proven waters to be had here. I thought Kovalev won. Okay, I give it to Ward for now, but Ward's going to always have this, bullseye on his back. Hey, you didn't win this fight. I was just on Twitter, and I saw Danny Garcia saying, oh, congrats on Andre Ward, close fight, and I tweeted at him saying, yeah, it's kind of like the time you beat Herrera, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, a very similar fight. Hey, man, I hope to see you soon, brother.
All right, take care, Billy. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye, guys.
All right. That's our man Chris from Tampa, and giving some thoughts. Another one disappointed. But, I mean, it is what it is, right, Sal? I mean, you know what I'm talking about when I say that Kovalev just needed to throw more punches at the end, or you think?
Well, you know what, like you were saying, Bill, you're absolutely right. I mean, he should not have even let it get to the judges. And the bottom line is, he just, like you said, I still thought he won the last couple of rounds. I still thought he did give away, or that Andre Ward, to his credit, outboxed him and landed some good blows in the middle rounds here and there. But I still saw Kovalev winning the fight, and but he was a little more complacent than I thought in the second half of the fight. I still thought he did enough to win, but the bottom line is he should have taken Andre Ward out. Should have, but to Andre Ward's credit, He's a fighter. He's
or
great.
or at least keep his foot on the gas pedal. Hey, if you're watching live, don't forget you can come on over to the chat room up on BillyCBoxing.com. That is the one we're communicating with. Speaking of communicating, joining us right now, my man Alex Perpali. What'd you think of the fight, my man?
Alex.
Hey, Billy C. Hey, Sal.
Hey, Alex.
I thought it was a terrific fight.
Yep.
It was an unfortunate decision when they said unanimous 114 when they were all three cards of 114 113. I thought, oh well, the fight I saw is what they did. But then they said Ward won, because to me it was very clear Kovalev won the first 6 rounds, and I thought you could make an argument. I didn't score it round by round, but I thought you could make an argument that Ward won the next 6.
Yes.
But even if he did,
the knockdown.
The knockdown, keeps him 1 point behind.
And that's how I
but
scored
when they
it.
said when they gave it to Ward, I was shocked.
Yeah. No. Hey, for a guy.
You know what, Alex? That's breaking it down as about as perfect as you can to make it even an argument that it was a closer fight than what I saw. But that's how I saw it.
So Alex, a fight
Ward really did terrific infighting. He was able to batter Kovalev to the body really, really well. And that is what, in part, slowed down Kovalev's output. And I think maybe up close, you could give him more credit for it. But that's what it looked like to me, is that it was almost like 2 different fights. The first half of the fight was all Kovalev, and then the second half was Ward.
I agree. And the knockdown was the difference, which on my scorecard gave it to Kovalev. But for a guy like you, Alex, that is very close to the Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard fight, did you see any similarities in this? I mean, to me, there were. I mean, they did the same thing. They bring a guy that maybe wasn't retired like Sugar Ray Leonard was or out of it, but in a sense, it was a guy that performed well and made the fight close, but should in no way in hell have won the belts.
Yeah, I think they did. They protected the American star. I really think you could make that argument. You hate to think that there's this, it was an anti-Russian thing, but maybe it is. We just have Russia in the backdrop of our whole election, so maybe it is, it's not too surprising. But I think it's more likely that they just wanted to, America likes an undefeated star. Vegas likes an undefeated star fighter, and they're more marketable with that O. I don't know. It was unfortunate because I really thought that Kovalev deserved it. He fought a really good fight. You're right. I think you could make an argument that he should have poured it on more, knowing that, it's Vegas. But I think you got to give Ward credit for that. The body shots they really were working, and I think that's one of the things that I enjoyed watching, was that we just saw some really, really good infighting from Andre Ward.
Well, I agree that he worked the body well, but he did a hell of a lot of clinching and holding, Alex. I mean, he holds so much and uses his head and everything else. I mean, to me, what kept going through my mind, guys, was that when a lot of people say, "Oh, well, boxing's evolving," I'm saying to myself, is this really what we are starting to look at as premier upper echelon fighters? Is the type of performance that Andre Ward had tonight, although it was calculated. He did a hell of a lot of holding. He did a hell of a lot of running. Not so much running like a Mayweather run, but he would move and hold and clinch. And I think that at the end of the day, Kovalev's inability to counter that lost him the fight.
Yeah, I think in the early going, Kovalev had enough gas in the tank and just enough just plain aggressive energy that his output, he maintained a heavy output, and I think keeping Ward backing up and having to respond to that. But as the fight wore on, and I think you got to give credit to Ward. I think it was Ward that changed it. His output decreased. Those body punches made Kovalev's punches. They seemed to take some of the sting out of it. I don't know. I guess I could see. I'm really, really hope we see a rematch, because to me it really was like we saw two different fights, two halves of a fight. And the second half, Andre Ward really came on.
Yeah, well, considering Ward got $5 million for this fight and Kovalev got $2 million, and Ward is the diva, I can't imagine what would go on if they had a rematch. It is probably the next lucrative and attractive fight in the division, and I hope that Main Events and Kathy Duva was smart enough to put a rematch clause in the contract, to be honest with you. It seems like everybody wants to see a rematch. Alex, we're getting a lot of calls. Any final thoughts, my man?
No, I just hope. I'm just glad. I think it was a shot in the arm that boxing needed. It was a fight that was fought at a high level throughout, and I think we needed to see that. It was definitely boxing's best against the best, and we got a good fight.
Yep, no doubt about that. Just a little controversy with the decision, but Alex, we'll look forward.
And I think we always get that.
Yeah, I know.
It's a subjective sport. It's a subjective sport.
One of these days, that's my point about especially a power puncher like Kovalev. He could have avoided it if he just kept his foot on the gas pedal. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe more. Maybe more.
Another knockdown at least.
Yeah, one more would have done it. Maybe more will come out about the fight in the next few hours. But Alex, we'll talk to you next week, brother.
All right, guys, take care.
Sal, I'm watching that fight, and I'm saying to myself, Kovalev. I thought for sure Kovalev won the fight, and I'm saying, well, what's next for Ward? And I immediately was thinking, well, what's perfect for Ward would be Triple G. I figured that they'll make that fight happen now that Ward has his loss, and then they go ahead and make the announcement that Ward actually wins the fight, which is ridiculous. But anyway, we got another caller on the line. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Coach.
Coach, what'd you think, my man?
Listen, earlier today I tried to call you. I read the Daily News, and I read this article. Alex had had it before, the best versus the best, and it said how Kovalev versus Ward was going to be the best of the best. It actually mentioned Triple G, went through the whole list of who the pound for pound are, and the article right underneath it said the title was Alvarez versus Ward's saves boxing, puts it back over the UFC. I was taken back. Then I noticed the guy who wrote the first article was the same guy who wrote the second article. Then I knew how the fight was going to go. The powers that be wanted Ward to win the fight. I had it.
Obviously. It was
exactly. Obviously. I agree with Sal.
Ward had to win every single round to get a draw at the best the second half. At the best.
Listen, I had it just the way Alex basically said. First half kind of went to Kovalev. Second half went to Ward, to 6-6. And then the knockdown, 114-113. I had that score, but I had it the other way. I had it for Kovalev.
As far as those who say that, maybe Kovalev should have pushed him or whatever, I don't recall reading a rule that you have to win by knockout or what. I know what everybody really means there, but it wasn't necessary. I didn't think it was necessary. As far as comparison to like the Hagler-Leonard thing, that's exactly what Ward did. There's no way the effectiveness of Ward's punches matched anything Kovalev was landing. Look at Ward's face.
Listen, I agree, but my point is that whether Kovalev got the knockout or not, he stopped throwing punches, man. He really did. He stopped throwing punches towards the second half of that fight. I don't know if he was saving energy or what, or if he just was frustrated, because he did start chasing Ward around the ring, whereas he was effectively cutting the ring off in the first half of the fight, unless it was all Ward that was, playing possum and then put it into another gear. I don't know.
No, but here's the thing. Even during that chasing part, he didn't do a stellar job of cutting off the ring. It wasn't like Ward was scoring points during that time. Ward was flat at times, actually on the run.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's not scoring. You don't get points for being on the run. So some of those rounds, I'm looking at. How did Ward win that round? I was just, it's a shame to me that, I think I put it in the chat room, but Mayweather said it a long time ago. He was going to make the sport entertainment, and that's what it's become. Entertainment. It's no longer sport competition. There's some other factors. There's always some variable that comes in that nobody can understand, and this is another one of those shows.
Yeah, it's called travesty. But Coach,
you're right, Coach.
I appreciate your call, man. We got a bunch of people calling in. I'm just trying to get everybody's thoughts. So
We got you.
We'll talk next week, my man. Hey, you got the other number. You should have called me on the other number.
Oh, and well, I'm going to call you tomorrow because I got a hookup for you where I'll tell you tomorrow.
Is she good looking?
No, not the kind of.
All right. All right, Coach. I'll talk to you soon, brother. All right. Well, you see, I tell you, it seems that everybody's on the same page. So,
Everybody.
yeah.
I mean, there's nobody I've heard yet that said they thought Andre Ward won the fight. I'll tell you what, Bill, if I can. It did surprise me that Andre Ward looked like he was taking the game away from Kovalev on the inside. And in other words, we called it. I thought Kovalev would eat him up on the inside, and I thought that's where Kovalev would want to be, on the inside. But Andre Ward did hold his own on the inside by holding and doing other things
right.
to him in the body
Well,
and a couple chops at the head. But at Kovalev, I thought he actually boxed him from the outside a little more than I expected. I thought he hit him with a jab. There was a time when Andre Ward tried to do a lead right, and then it caught him a little bit, Kovalev, but Kovalev came back with a harder right. So it looked like Kovalev had the answer for whatever Andre Ward was going to give him. But then, like you said, it just didn't go in that favor. And Alex seemed to make the best case for the fight to have gone to Kovalev. I gave him the first 6 rounds as well with that knockdown. And even if you give Andre Ward the second half of the fight, Kovalev still should have won.
Hey, according to your scorecard, you gave almost all the rounds to
Kovalev.
Hey, just to get everybody caught up real quick, the other fights on the card, there was a light heavyweight fight. Oling Sander Gazdik took a TKO victory over Isaac Chilimba in somewhat of a boring fight, to be honest with you. And then Maurice Hooker against Darlis Perez. There's another kind of a terrible decision. I thought that Darlis Perez won the fight, and we end up with a 97-93 for one, 97-93 for the other, and the proverbial draw, 95-95. I felt that Perez won that fight easily. And then, of course, we're talking now about the Kovalev-Ward fight. Ward won a close decision. We're getting in several people's thoughts on it, and we have someone else on the line right now. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Billy C., it's Johnny Blaze, man. How you doing over there in New York?
Hey, John. How you doing, my man? What'd you think of the fight, brother?
Okay, I honestly don't think Kovalev got robbed in this fight. I might be the only one on the planet. But then again, I was watching the UK feed. I wasn't watching the US feed for most of the fight. And they were seeing it that way as well. I mean, the first 2 rounds were no-brainer. I mean, the first round was Kovalev, second round was a 2-point round. Ward started to come back a little bit after that. He started to move a little bit better laterally and get his range a little bit better, started landing some good jabs. I thought it was pretty close to even by about the 6th, 7th round. And then Ward did start to take advantage of Kovalev towards the end of the fight. Kovalev was sloppy. He was off balance. He was doing a lot of underhooks, so he was controlling most of the inside fighting by trying to walk Ward down. I think that helped burn out Kovalev. And down the stretch, clearly Ward was the better fighter. If this thing went 15 rounds, I don't know if it would have went 15 rounds, but I think we would have had a clear decision at the end.
You know, a couple of the middle rounds were extremely close. I made notes, 5th and 6th were very close, could have gone either way. And if the, judges ringside felt that those 2 rounds went to Ward, well, there's your answer for their scorecards. But, I've been saying it all night long. At the end of the day, Kovalev knew that he had to be a ring general in this fight. He knew he had to be. And I'm sure in the back of his mind, he knew that he was going to get robbed if it went to the scorecards. I would be shocked. I disagree with what the announcing team, at least the HBO crew, was saying, that both fighters seem to be fighting for the scorecards and everything else. If I'm Team Kovalev, I never once wanted this fight to go to the scorecards. I feel
I agree.
Yeah, I feel that they would have
100%, Bill.
the game plan would have had to been a stoppage.
Yeah.
And how do you get a stoppage if you stop throwing punches? I can't say it enough. Kovalev stopped throwing punches, whether he was hurt from the body work that Ward was doing, whether Ward was frustrating him to prevent him from throwing the punches. All of those reasons that you could stick up and give kudos to Andre Ward for, so be it. But, I didn't see it that way. I saw that Kovalev took his foot off the gas, but I still also thought that Kovalev squeaked out the victory.
Well,
Hey,
I
how
agree
did
with
our
everything
friend
except
Howard-
for the score.
What's that, John?
Go ahead. Okay, Sal, I was going to say, too, I agree with everything but the score, because I saw the fourth round as a lot closer. I thought the table started to tip a little bit then. And coming down the stretch, I saw no urgency whatsoever from Kovalev, none. Like, the fight started to tip the other way. Clearly it was tipping the other way. I was watching Paulie, not Malignaggi. He was doing the feed in the UK, so he was with the UK announcers. And he even started scoring it for Ward, and he picked Kovalev to win the fight. So you could see Malignaggi's scorecard tipping. They were all laughing at Harold Letterman's scorecard because none of them were even close to that in the UK. They saw a much closer fight. And I thought it was a close fight. When it came down 114, 113, I didn't know who won. I was waiting for the decision. And it was one of those fights where you don't want it to go to the scorecard. But if you're Kovalev and you're already worried because you're Russian fighting an American who won a gold medal for America, then down the stretch, I agree 100% with you, Billy C. You got to fight those last rounds. You can't. And I found that the body punches were accumulating. They did a hell of a lot of damage. I know, Bill, you like a guy that has that goes to the body. Ward was able to sit in the pocket, slip some shots, take some off the arms, and really was landing some hard punches, and he was putting Kovalev off balance. I hadn't really seen Kovalev look like that before, so, I mean, he didn't look like a fighter that was trying to knock out his opponent.
John, some great points. We got a bunch of people calling. I do want to say this. I think you make an excellent point, and I agree with you 100%. Sergey Kovalev never once did show any sign of urgency, and I think John made a great point because I think if the corner, John David Jackson, not that Virgil Hunter was being so, anything more than a shrink in the corner of Andre Ward, but on the other hand, John David Jackson wasn't doing much either, and I agree with you, John. I think that there was a lack of urgency in Kovalev's corner, and they had to think this fight was close, and although there was definite urgency in Ward's corner, there wasn't in Kovalev's, and maybe that made the difference. Great point.
Awesome. Sal, how's the pizza tonight?
Hey, man, pizza is fantastic. It's great. Tell you. You gotta come down and try
one.
Yeah, one of these times you got to go down there, John. But hey, listen, John, thanks for the call. We're trying to get a couple more in before we go off. We're getting 1 million people calling here, so we're going to try to get another couple calls in. All right, my man?
Awesome. Good talking to you again, Billy C. All the best to you. And Sal, have a good night over there, man. I could have used one of those pizzas tonight, man. It was one of those fights.
Yeah,
There was a nail bite. I got no nails left.
I could have, too. But too bad Sal doesn't ship them to us. You know what I mean, bro? All right, John, take care. That's my man Johnny Blaze from Canada giving us his thoughts. We got some more. We got the phone line open right now. So if you have some time, give us a call. We're going to take a few more callers. 845-228-8710. 845-228-8710. We're talking about the, in case you're under a rock, we're talking about the Kovalev-Ward fight, the decision. And John does make an interesting point, Sal. There was no urgency in the Kovalev corner.
No, and great point. And like you said, you fight, and you've got so much on the line. And, especially when he had him hurt. And he had him hurt. I mean, Ward felt his power in the first round and again in the second round. That's why I was surprised when I was even watching round 6. I said, wow, I didn't think it would go this far. And boom. It was just due to, I guess, Kovalev becoming complacent. He I thought he did enough to win the fight. I like I said, I gave him more rounds, but hey, I can't change the score.
We got another caller on the line. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Destro from New York. How are you?
Good. How you doing, my man? What'd you think of the fight?
Good. I had Ward winning.
You had Ward winning.
And actually, I had it. So I gave, and I think one thing that people maybe kind of maybe off a little bit. I don't think Kovalev won the first 6 rounds. So some people are saying, well, Kovalev won the first 6, and Ward won some of the latter 6. I think Kovalev won 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
But I gave rounds, so 3, 4, and 5. So these are the rounds I gave to Ward, okay?
Yeah.
So I gave Ward 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12.
3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 11 and 12.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12.
Well, I thought 5 was close to go either way. I disagree with you on 3 and 4. Let's say you had 7. I agree with you. I gave Ward that. I gave Ward the 8th. I gave Ward the 9th. So I'm agreeing. I gave Ward the 11th and 12th as well. The only ones I disagree with you on are a couple of those first ones. But like I said earlier, I did say close. So, hey, listen, I don't want to take credit from Ward because he fought a good fight. He did. I don't like those style fights, and I put more blame on Kovalev for not keeping his foot on the gas.
Well, see, and that's a good point. I feel like, you know what? If Kovalev is upset and everyone's upset, it's Kovalev's fault. That's his problem. He should have kept his foot on the gas. It's his fault that he allowed Andre Ward to hypnotize him, and he started to fight Andre Ward's fight. I think it was around round 7, or a little perhaps round 5. Yes, round 5. Where I was like, okay, all right, cream is rising to the top. This is where the difference in class is starting to show. And I thought from round 5, I thought Ward was just going to sweep and win every round after round 5. But I feel like, to your point, it's Kovalev's fault. His coach should have told him, hey, keep your foot on the gas, stay focused. But I feel like Kovalev, there are times that he's just walking around like a zombie, trying the same thing over and over and over and over. And Ward is he can't keep doing that with Ward. It's not, if he's in a pitcher's mound and if he's swinging a bat, eventually he's going to hit a ball. But in boxing, it doesn't work like that. You got to try different things. Don't keep trying over and over and over and over and over and think, you're going to run out of rounds. And I think, actually, if we had more rounds, I think Ward would have won more convincingly because I think the momentum started to shift towards Ward's game plan, I think.
See, that's funny you say that because I kind of think that Ward was I think he used up every ounce of gas he had in his tank. I think that if that fight went 15 rounds, I think Ward would not have been able to continue. I think he gave the best and that he could do and used up every bit of fuel in those last 3 rounds. That's what I think.
Yeah, but and I think, but also, man, Kovalev, he started disappointing me. I tell people, Kovalev, this guy, and the guy is anyone would be insane to say that Kovalev is not world class. He's not, because this was, to me, I feel blessed that we had this fight, and I just hope that everybody heard some people call in and say, hey, they were watching the stream in the UK. Pay for a fight like this. Boxing needs, we need to show corporations that boxing is thriving.
Yeah, but this is why people don't want to pay because they watch a great fight like this. And everybody thinks that it goes one way and it goes another, and then they say, "See, that's why I don't want to spend my money on this shit."
But I think the difference is a robbery and a controversial. I think this may be controversial. It could have went either way. I don't think it was a robbery, and I don't think anybody should be throwing their TV out the window. It was a close fight, and I feel like shame on Kovalev for giving the fight away. He should, But let me ask you this: so a couple reasons I'm happy that Ward won because I feel like Kovalev is. All right, let me make it quick because I know you have other callers. So I know, so Kovalev, one thing that he did, so we know that Kovalev killed a guy, or he didn't kill the guy, but the guy died after the fight, right? He knocked the guy out, the guy died after the fight. Even after that, Kovalev continued to, what he does, and you'll see videos of this, Kovalev, when he'll put his gloves on before the fight, then he'll punch the walls in the locker room, and I feel like he's breaking his gloves down. There's a reason why, in boxing, in amateur boxing, after a tournament, you can't use the gloves anymore. They'll throw the gloves out because you break the padding down. So Kovalev, knowing he killed the guy years ago, he continued to punch the walls and break his gloves down so that when he enters the ring, his gloves have almost no padding. And I'm wondering why people aren't seeing this, but so that's one of the reasons I don't like Kovalev. He killed the guy, then he continues to do this in his fights. Another thing, I feel like Ward hit the nail on the head. I feel like he's a bully. And there are times in a fight where Kovalev was really frustrated. I'm like, well, you need to be more mentally. And actually, one time in the fight, Ward said to Kovalev, "Don't cry." Like he yelled out to Kovalev, like, "Don't cry." So, but let me ask you this. Another reason I'm happy that Ward won. I feel like now Ward could possibly fight because Kovalev. There's no place for him to go. He could fight Stevenson. If he doesn't fight Stevenson, his only other option is to go up to cruiserweight. Ward, I feel like Ward could stay at 175, or he could go to 168, catch weights with the guys like Triple G and stuff like that. Gill, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, maybe. I think the light heavyweight division, the two best guys you saw fight tonight. But, hey, I appreciate the call. We're going to take a couple of more callers, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon, my man.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, bye-bye. I don't know, Sal. I don't know about the comments about Kovalev, trying to kill somebody in the ring. I think that was an unfortunate situation that took place with Kovalev. But at the end of the day, I maintain my thought. I think, I'm not discrediting Andre Ward's performance, but I think Kovalev let it slip through his fingers, to be honest with you.
Well, you know what? You said that several times. I do agree.
About 100. I said about 100 times.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, you did. But you know what? But it's true because, like I said, he became complacent, and he basically took his foot off the pedal. And I don't know if he thought he had enough rounds in there or whatever. But I think that I think it was just a total drop ball. He dropped the ball. Definitely dropped the ball.
Well, I mean, the fight that you saw, you saw it one-sided, but let's grab another caller here. We got another caller on the line. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, boy, this is Alex from Tampa.
Alex from Tampa. How you doing, my man? What'd you think of the fight?
Hey, Billy, So I thought the fight, me personally, I wasn't really actively judging the fight. So I'll be honest, just based on what I saw, I thought it was a draw, or either like 1 point for Kovalev. But I wanted to kind of just bring up some points that some of the other callers have kind of mentioned. Like, I felt like Ward had to really fight a dirty fight towards the later end of the rounds. Like, I think around like round 5 or round 6, because surprisingly enough, Kovalev was the person who kept holding Ward's neck the entire fight. I felt like he had to adjust during the fight to actually dictate and kind of deal with Kovalev pushing on his neck. I mean, you could come in as a fighter, if you're fighting shorter, you have the right to come in without the guy locking your neck and leaning down on you. And I really, Sal, as a former fighter, I really wanted to get your take on that, like holding somebody's neck down when they're coming in.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to do that. It shouldn't be done more than once or so. The referee should say something. And, it's just like also, when I saw Kovalev throw a right, Andre Ward will pull back and duck away. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why Kovalev wouldn't change up expecting that. He let it go on too many times.
Hey Sal, let me elaborate something on the question that Alex just asked you.
Yeah.
Because of the issue that Alex made, where the referee was warning Kovalev for pushing down on Andre Ward. The way I saw it, and Alex, they were both the same size, so it wasn't like a typical short guy going in where the bigger guy leans on him and stuff. It tires them out. But what I was seeing was Andre Ward was actually going in with his head down to try and instigate the clinch and the hold, and Kovalev was combating that by pushing down. That's kind of what I saw. But I mean, was I seeing the wrong thing?
Yeah, that was very astute of you. I saw that a little bit too. It takes two, and then, you know.
From what I saw, sorry to interrupt, Sal. Like, I mean, I guess you could kind of see it that way too. But if I'm trying to do something as opposed to you actually doing it, then who is really doing it? So, I mean, yeah, there's some tit for tat there, because either which way, if I initiate the clinch first, because they both fall dirty, because I agree, you know, Kovalev initially kept pushing down on the head, pushing down on the neck, and so, you know, as, you know, Andre Ward has that B-hop style, so, I mean, in my head, I was like, well, fight dirty back, because, you know, the judge, or the referee, Bird just let it go, so, I mean, you kind of have to, if the referee is not going to do anything about it, you kind of have to fight that same type of style. That's how I looked at it. But I personally saw Kovalev initiate more of the pushing down on the head. So I felt like, you know, he kind of had to like wrestle like with Kovalev to kind of get him from pushing down on the neck. So I don't know. That was just my opinion on the fight. But to be honest, I actually thought it was a draw just based on me looking at it. Like, I wasn't actively judging it, but clearly had there not been a knockdown, I think Ward would have clearly won it. And to me, that was the big issue in the fight, which kind of swayed it. Why I think most people thought Kovalev won the fight. So which I could kind of understand. So that was pretty much my point. I just want to kind of bring up that point. I know people were mentioning that in the fight. But one last thing I want to mention: Kovalev does have a rematch clause, so I'm thinking we'll probably see this fight maybe March or April sometime.
Well, maybe
I don't know. I'll hang up and I'll hear you guys.
Sounds good, my man. Alex, thanks for calling. We'll talk to you soon.
Alex, take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
You know, I'm glad to hear that, you know, it's been reported that there's a rematch clause. I certainly hope so. But, you know, Sal, just to touch more on the topic that Alex brought up, I did think that, you know, it wasn't so much Kovalev pushing down. I think that was his answer to Andre Ward holding, you know, like literally going forward and clinching. That's what Andre Ward was doing. I mean, I know that he was trying to avoid getting hit, but like you said, like you started to say, I mean, you know, when does Kovalev say, hey, I got to change my game plan a little bit? He did seem like he was doing the same thing over and over, and then he did start following him around instead of cutting the ring off.
You know, it's so funny because when we talked last week, you know, we said if Kovalev didn't cut the ring off and chased him around like a little puppy dog, it would be a different fight. And, you know, even though you and I, and it seems like the majority, although we were getting some callers in now, thinking they saw the Ward fight winning, you know, it just seems that, you know, he did follow around like a puppy dog in the later rounds. And you know, he gave the fight away. He could have been more dominant. He could have solidified it. He could have stopped, you know, jumped on the pedal and picked it up. But like you said a couple times, he went to sleep. He took his foot off the pedal, and that was it.
Yeah.
And he lost.
Yeah, and, you know, the corner didn't do him any justice either. So, hey, if you're watching the post-fight show here and you stumbled across us and you don't know anything about us, we do a daily boxing talk show. So check out our channel here, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkinboxing, TALKINBOXING. We're also on 38 radio stations throughout the U.S. and Canada, so check your local listings for our show. You can also catch us on Fight TV and download the app right now for your handheld. It's fight.tv. That's FITE.tv/Billy C. And watch our show on a daily basis. And right now we're going to take some more callers. Otherwise, we'll pack it in. We had a bunch of people calling, but I'm only going to take one caller at a time. So if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns, give us a call right now, 845-228-8710. And Sal, you know, I watched this pay-per-view, and you know, when we discussed it all last week, I thought the undercard was going to be a little more exciting than it turned out to be. I think overall, the main event, of course, was a very entertaining scrap. But I still feel that pay-per-views should have better undercards that we're paying for. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're right. You know what? It's so funny. You know, Kayla was with me. We were watching the fight, and she called the fight. She not because the fighters were going to win by outboxing, but she called who was going to win the fight, and including Andre Ward, and it was amazing. She just came up roses with that. But yeah, I think the fight. You know, I saw that a little bit of the Chilimba fight, and the one right before the Kovalev fight, and that was a little bit. It was a funny decision there too, I think, and I didn't think the fights were great. I thought they were okay, but they were by far from great. And you know, it is what it is. You know, that's just it. You know, when are we going to see more consistent combatants getting in the ring and doing a good job, instead of maybe fighting a safety first, or however they want to fight it conservatively.
Well, you know, Dax's frustration I share. It is very frustrating to see, you know, fighters that come in and don't really dominate and get the win. You know, I want to give credit to Andre Ward. He improved to 31-0 in this fight with 15 knockouts. He did pick up all three of the world light heavyweight titles, and you know, he won the fight. It was a close fight. I personally think he lost the fight by 1 point, but at the end of the day, he ended up getting the decision. Hopefully we will see a rematch. I think it's good that the fans want to see the rematch, and it'll be interesting to see what modifications and changes each camp does, because quite honestly, I think there were holes in both game plans. The only difference is that Andre Ward squeaked his out. Somehow he convinced the judges he won the rounds. I mean, I don't go by the punch stats, but Kovalev landed more shots, landed the harder punches, landed more punches. A lot of times when you look at those stats that are all subjective, like Alex mentioned earlier, generally they're pretty close. Very rarely do you see the punch stats go one way and the decision go another, but that's what we saw tonight.
That's so true, Bill. Hey, I'm curious. What did our friend Harold Letterman have it? How did he score it?
I think he had it 115. What did he have it? Maybe 115 to 112. He had it slightly different than mine. He had given an extra round, I believe, to Kovalev. But again, hey, I was wrong. I thought Kovalev would stop Andre Ward. I said that if it went to the score. But I also said, and people can go back and watch the show, I also said if this fight goes to the cards, I don't care if Kovalev battered him from ring post to ring post, they're never going to give him a decision. And I was right about that. They didn't, you know, and that's why I kind of put the blame on Kovalev, Sal, because Kovalev knew that he had to knock him out. Why would he take his foot off the gas? Do you think that he really got hurt by those body shots? You know, you talked about it last week. I talked about it. You know, we all said, you know, all of a sudden Andre Ward acts like he's got this, you know, killer knockout punch. Virgil Hunter's in his ear going, "You're going to stop this guy. You're going to stop this guy." I mean, obviously he was fighting like he's got this hidden power. And I didn't think that he hurt Kovalev once in that fight. Maybe the body shots. Maybe the body shots accumulated, but he hit him a couple times square on the jaw, and the Crusher just looked at him. You know, so I don't know. You know, I want to give Andre Ward credit, but on the other hand, I want to, you know, call a spade a spade. Sergey Kovalev didn't do enough to win, and I think you know, when they look at the tape, they're going to realize that they didn't. But we got another caller on the line. Sal, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Billy C. This is Shed from Jersey. How you doing, pal?
What's up, brother? How you making out?
All right. Just wanted to call in on this fight tonight. Actually, definitely agree with the Kovalev won this fight. I agree with you. They took his foot off the gas a little bit, which could be the reason why it was a little close. I mean, that also, you got to give Ward some credit. He came on strong towards the end, but I think that I don't think it was a massive robbery. I don't think it was a Pacquiao Bradley 1 type of robbery, or you know, Mauricio Herrera and Garcia type of robbery. But it was definitely a robbery in the sense that the clear-cut winner did not win. And I think this is the reason why people sort of hate boxing sometimes. This is why they get driven to UFC and all the other kind of sports and, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Like you said, this is why people live stream and not pay for it the way I did. And I'm kind of pissed off that I did, because this is just a bogus decision, man. This kills the sport of boxing. It really does.
Yeah, but, you hit it on the head, though, my man. It was a close fight, and that's the beauty part of the sport. It's subjective. You and I could watch the same fight and say, oh, that punch landed, and I could say it didn't, and that would dictate who won the round. I agree that it was a close fight. I disagree with the scorecards, but I also agree that, like you said, I don't know if we can say it was a robbery. It wasn't like Pacquiao Bradley won or Garcia Herrera. I agree with that, and that's why, the more we talk about it, the more calls we get, the more I really believe that Kovalev and his team is to blame because they kind of took their foot off the gas pedal, and Ward looked like, hey, for that first half of the fight, Ward looked like he was in there surviving. He looked like, holy shit, he didn't know, and then the second half of the fight, every in between rounds, the guy looked like he was going to have a heart attack on the stool, and then he came on strong during the round, which is something that Kovalev failed to do, So, I mean, if you look at it like that, you could say, well, Andre Ward kind of worked a little harder at the end. You know what I mean?
I had a question, though, Billy. I was just to put it out there real quick. What he was saying towards the end of the fight, it did kind of make him look like a baby a little bit when he mentioned the judges being American and all that stuff. But then again, I don't know. I don't remember the last time we had 3 judges that were all from the same country. That doesn't usually happen from the fights that I watch. Usually they do mix it up a little bit. Now I don't want to make it sound like there's a conspiracy, but I mean, it is kind of weird, you got to admit. I mean, for him to kind of wonder, you know what I mean? You can't blame him too much. At the end of the day, you got to be a man, accept the decision, obviously, even though you think you won, or we all think you won. But I think there may be a little something to that, man. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's what negotiations prior to the fight are all about. So maybe main events should have, insisted upon having some more neutral judges. I mean, after all, there were 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 sanctioning bodies for this fight. You would think that they would want to bring some people in from other places. But keep in mind, Kovalev, I don't know if he's a U.S. citizen now or if he's got a visa or what, but he's living in Florida. So I mean, he's totally relooking.
He may be, but I still heard the Russian national anthem, pal.
Yeah, that's the longest national anthem I ever heard. I mean, how many verses is that? I mean, I think national anthems they gotta limit it to like 40 minutes. I mean, I was like, wait, when is this?
Like Hotel California.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, when is this gonna end? Well, first of all, I don't understand the words he's saying, but it was the longest damn thing. It was almost like the Philippines national anthem.
Oh my God, that one never.
I was looking for the short version, like the Hunt from the Red October.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. What's next, man? What do you think is next before we let you go? Is there going to be a rematch? You think they're going to drag their feet? What do you think?
I think it's definitely going to be a rematch. The fact that they came together to make this fight in the first place, it really does. That kind of gives like a shining moment to boxing, that these guys are not going to wait till they're 40 to fight each other like a lot of these other guys do today. But I mean, I think they're definitely going to fight soon, or I hope very, very soon. I mean, both guys are, they gave it a good run tonight to put on a good show. And I think Ward is a man of his word. I think he said he would give him a rematch, so I have no reason to believe he won't. But you know what? That also could be the reason why they made this controversial. Maybe now we're all really going to tune in. You know what I mean? So I think they should definitely. I think they'll get it done the second time.
Yeah, I think you're right. Hey, man, I appreciate the call. We're going to try and take another caller or two and call in during the regular show, brother.
Absolutely will.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care and tell Jersey I said hello.
Yes, sir. We'll do. All right.
Rematch talk, Sal. As far as a rematch goes, who do you think whose benefits from a rematch? You think Kovalev or Ward?
I think Kovalev will have to.
See now here's where I disagree. I think that the rematch will benefit Andre Ward. I think Kovalev had his chance to dominate in this first fight. I think Ward gets his number better in the second fight.
You know what, Bill? And that's a good point, because Kovalev definitely had the element of surprise on his side tonight. when he was so dominant in the first and second round, Andre Ward felt his strength, and Andre Ward fought a very tactical but scared fight for the next round or two. I'm telling you, he felt the power, and Kovalev just didn't keep his foot down and didn't keep it up, because that's it. But now the element of surprise is lost. Now Andre Ward knows what he's going to get from him and knows what to expect from him. And so you are right on that level.
Well, if I'm the camps, we'll take another caller, one more caller, 845-228-8710. Give us a call. Give us your thoughts on the fight. You know, my thought on the rematch, Sal, is that Andre Ward might modify his game plan a bit to say, you know what, working that body worked. Why don't we turn our game plan around and focus on breaking them down in the early rounds? They kind of were sporadically working the body in this fight. Maybe they focus more on part one, part two, focus on the body in the first part, and then try to steal the fight in the second part. I don't think that clinching and stuff will ever work except help Andre Ward survive. As far as Kovalev, I don't see much change to his game plan other than keeping his foot on the gas. I don't see him doing anything different that he could modify. I mean, what do you think?
I think I want to go look at that fight again, and I'm going to score it and look at it. But how many times did Kovalev throw that right hand, let it go, and Andre Ward would duck to his right and just get out of the way? And that's what I'm saying. Kovalev couldn't change up his game plan in the middle rounds by either feinting a right hand or overextending it down to the lower part and catching Andre Ward. That's what you do. You don't keep throwing it the same style, same angle, because that's what he's doing. So, his chin's going to be down by your freaking left knee, and bam, now you're going to throw the punch, anticipating he's going to do that. And, it just didn't happen. He looked like he was out finessed by Andre Ward. That's exactly it. I still think he won the fight, but I think Andre Ward was a smarter fighter. He was able to make some adaptation, and Kovalev was not.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. Andre Ward, although I don't think Virgil Hunter is a great trainer, I really don't, but Andre Ward had a better game plan and was able to modify their game plan, or at least add some wrinkles to it, better than Kovalev was. And another thing I noticed from both fighters was they weren't putting multiple punch combinations together. We saw some multiple jabs, maybe a double, triple jab, and then when the right hand came, I didn't see a left behind it very often. Why not let your hands go? Why not throw 4, 5, 6 punch combinations if you're Sergey Kovalev, and hope to catch Ward? He started pulling a Klitschko. He started having that right hand cocked and ready to go, and he was hesitant. When they both started doing the bolo bullshit, I'm like, what's going on? And Sergey Kovalev did nail Ward once when he was doing that, but Ward had no business acting like that. I don't think that, to tell you the truth, I don't think that they thought they even won the fight until the judges announced it. I don't care.
I know his mother didn't think he won the fight. Number one. Number two, I do congratulate him, because you know what, Bill? He had a plan B.
Well, listen, I give Andre Ward credit. I was thinking, does Andre Ward move into that number one pound for pound spot because he beat Kovalev? It's hard to really say that Andre Ward looked so fantastic. He didn't. He beat the guy that was considered unbeatable, and I think that if it was more of a decisive win, I think if it was a dominating win, I think it would be an easy decision. But right now, it was a close fight. He got the nod. He got the benefit of the judges. He got the benefit of the promoter. I think it was a close fight. I do want to see a rematch. I want to see a rematch, but I
want to see a rematch.
Well, Kovalev's got to knock him out. It's the only way he's going to win.
You've got to knock him out. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I thought it was a good fight. I didn't think it was a great fight, but I thought it was a very good fight. And but like you said, I think if they get back in the ring again, which we hope they do, Kovalev is going to have to knock him out. And if he gets that chance where he's going to hurt him, he can't let him off the hook. He's got to keep his foot down, and he's got to get rid of him.
No question. Hey, Sal, I appreciate. I know you're away with the fam, and I appreciate you coming on. And we'll talk more about this on Monday morning, my man.
All right, buddy. We'll look forward to it, and I'll talk to you then. You have a great day tomorrow.
All right, brother. Take care. Thanks a lot.
All right, brother. Thanks. Bye-bye.
That's Sal Rocky Senecola. You can catch him every day on the Billy C. Morning Show. And just a little reminder, we do air live every day, Monday through Friday, from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on BillyCBoxing.com or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing. You can also get our podcast. And, of course, you can watch us on Fight TV. That's FITE.tv. Download the app for your handheld. Go to fight.tv/BillyC. Just to wrap it up here, the opening for the pay-per-view, Curtis Stevens wins a unanimous decision over James De La Rosa to improve to 29-5 with 21 knockouts. Two of the three judges scored at 96-92. Which was okay. I thought it was a little closer, but one had it 98-90, so I'm not sure what fight that person was watching. The next fight was in the light heavyweight division. Oleksandr Gazdik improved to 12-0 with 10 knockouts when he officially beat Isaac Chilimba via an 8th-round TKO. They stopped the fight. Isaac Chilimba said that he broke his hand and could not continue. He drops to 24 wins, 5 losses, and a couple of draws. Maurice Hooker was supposed to be a showcase fight for the tall, lanky junior welterweight, but instead Darlis Perez, in my opinion, beat him, but the judges saw it differently. One judge scored at 97-93 for Perez. One judge scored at 97-93 for Hooker. And the third judge, of course, had it 95-95, making the fight a draw. I thought the fight clearly went to Darlis Perez. And then, of course, in the main event, Sergey Kovalev lost his title to Andre Ward. Andre improves to 31-0 with 15 knockouts. And Sergey Kovalev drops to 30 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, with 26 of his wins coming by knockout. It was a very entertaining scrap. There's no question about it. My final opinion, listen, I give Andre Ward a lot of credit for coming in, staying on his feet for 12 rounds, even though he did hit the deck. I blame Sergey Kovalev for taking his foot off the gas and for, not maintaining ring generalship in this fight. But at the end of the day, the score was 114-113. All three judges scored it that way in favor of Ward. I scored it the same way, except I scored it in favor of Kovalev. Nonetheless, hopefully they will have a rematch. So I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Billy C. Kovalev-Ward post-fight show. I especially want to thank all of our callers that called in with your thoughts. And don't forget to check out our show Monday through Friday. Visit the website, www.billycboxing.com, for all the information. Hey, hopefully we'll have and see you guys on Monday morning during our show, or you can always download the podcast or watch us on YouTube or whatever. So until then, enjoy the fights, and we hope to see you Monday morning. Ciao, baby.